Good morning and welcome to BeefLink TV, your daily dose of industry information. This morning we welcome back Robert Windsor to talk about safety and security declarations and a member's contractual liabilities when completing them. So firstly, thank you for joining us this morning.
That's fine, Natalie.
This episode does not explain how to complete a safety and security declaration, does
That's
it?
quite correct.
So who has legal responsibility for filling it out?
Right, the legal responsibility for completing the SNSGB declaration rests with the operator of the active means of transport. Now, in the BeefLink from January, there is quite a long article about liabilities for completing this, and that's really what I want to do, just talk us through some of the main points.
Sure.
So, it is the operator of the active means of transport who is required to do this declaration or to ensure that it has been done. They can delegate that responsibility to another party, but it has to be with their knowledge and consent.
Sure.
Now, this is causing some confusion. I'm not going to be looking at air, I'm not looking at maritime, because our feeling is that there's well-established policies and procedures that the airlines and the shipping lines know what needs to be done and how to do it, because they've been using something called Import Control System, ICS-1, for a long time, and that was when we were part of the European Union, and there's a hangover.
Sure.
This declaration we're focusing on is on the road freight, the RoRo environment from in particular, our former partner countries in the European Union.
Okay.
Now, we've had a lot of questions about this because there are concerns about this, and members quite rightly have got concerns about, is there people in a position to actually do this declaration? Because there's two elements to it. There is what I'm going to call the cargo data. It's those elements which are specifically relative to the freight. So who's sending it? Who's receiving it? You're then looking at, the pieces, the weights, the description of the goods, all of that sort of thing. Attached to that, you need what I'm going to call the freight movement data. So it's, the truck registration, all of that sort of stuff. And actually, when we look at it, it's those areas in particular which are difficult because, different parties will have different elements of this data at different times. Basically, our members have been in contact, and this article goes through it in quite a lot of detail.
Okay.
And I would encourage people to read. It's page 10 and 11 of the January BeefLink, and it does cover this quite clearly. We have taken soundings from solicitors on this, and basically there are different scenarios to consider. And I'm going to look at just two of the four that describe. So yes, you are going to have to read this to find out the answers to the other ones. The view is, right, if a member is in a forwarding/customs clearance arrangement with an existing client, the BEFA standard trading conditions will cover that arrangement in its entirety.
Sure.
There's warranty clauses in it. There are clauses relative to the accuracy of the data that needs to be filed and who's providing that data and that sort of thing. So the general feeling is that when the freight forwarder customs agent is doing this declaration on behalf of somebody that they've already got a long established, and it's a freight forwarding/customs clearance thing, it's covered. The other side of the coin, and this is a bit of a standalone one, is if the haulier, and now there'll be British hauliers who want this done, and there'll be EU-based hauliers who will want this done, comes to a forwarder and say, can you do this? And I'm going to loosely describe it as a bureau service. It'll be a bit of a standalone. What is the situation then? And once again, the freight forwarder, if they engage the BEFA standard trading conditions with the haulier, will, we believe, be covered, because it's, once again, the accuracy of the data and all of that sort of thing. So I think it is an important thing, if you are thinking of doing this, either for your clients or on behalf of any hauliers, then I think you do need to make sure you invoke the B for standard trading conditions.
Sure.
That is the information that we believe is correct at this moment of time in January 2025. If things develop and we find anything else out, we will have to look at it again.
Sure.
But this is the current situation on those two main scenarios. As I say, read the article. It's on BFA-Link on the website. It's in hard copy, and it does cover this in some detail, more detail than I've gone into in this case.
But as you said, the other two scenarios are covered off in the article.
Yes, so basically you've got to actually read the article to find it.
That's great. Thank you very much, Robert.
My pleasure.
As Robert said, January's BFA-Link is now available on the website. We'll pop a link in the description below. That's all for today's episode of BFA-Link TV, your daily dose of industry information.